Timing is on.
Hey guys, good morning. Welcome to Basic. I got on just a tad early, so I'm just going to wait a couple minutes. We'll get started. We're going to talk about adding fractions today. Okay, guys, good morning. We're going to do a little bit of review with decimals, and then we'll get into fractions. So what I put up here is it said you used your debit card to buy each of your 3 kids an ice cream cone, and they're each $1.50 per cone. And also use your debit card to fill up your gas tank for $44.50. Your new balance in your checking account is $403.25. It says, how much did you have before these purchases? Okay, so what you would want to do is, if we wrote basically like an equation or expression, excuse me, you could do, you bought 3 ice cream cones times $1.50. Okay, that would equal $4.50. You filled up your gas tank for $44.50. And then your balance was, after all this, $403.25. So what you could do, you could add all 3 of these together, and what that would equal is $452.25. Because it told us what our, I'll do it in a different color. This was our ending balance right here. Okay. And then we spent $450 and $44.50, so that's $49. So we would just add that $49 to our ending balance. And then it means we started before we purchased the ice cream cones and filled our gas tank up was $452.25. Okay, so it's just basically almost like a addition problem, and we just had to add our balance, our purchases together, and then what all those add up to was what our starting balance was. Okay, so what I want to talk about today, we're going to talk about adding fractions. So if we have like 1/4 plus 2/4, the key to adding fractions, you guys, is going to be the denominator. It's going to be this bottom number. Because if the bottom number is like, so in this case it's both 4s, we can just add across, and this would be 3/4. Because both those denominators are the same. Okay. Similar if we have like 2/5 plus 1/5. Once again, the denominator is the same, so that would be 3/5. Okay, so if you get a fraction problem when the denominators are exactly the same, you can just go ahead and add straight across. Okay, but a lot of times, and this is subtracting too, adding and subtracting is exactly the same. So if this was like, if these were subtraction problems and the denominators were the same, you could just do a straight subtraction across. But what's going to happen is we're going to get fractions. For example, if we have like let me see here. Let me come up with one here that's a little bit different. If we have 2/3 plus 1/4, you're going to look and see, okay, the denominators, I have a 3 and a 4. So I can't add those together just yet. But what do I have to do? Well, I have to find a common denominator, something they both share in common. Okay. So in this case, you're going to ask yourself, what is a number that both 3 and 4 go into? Okay. And in this case, it's going to be 12. And what you want to try to do is find the smallest number. Okay, they also go into 24. They'd also go into 48. But we want to try to find the smallest number they both go into. Okay. So we know 3 goes into 4, 3 goes into 12, and 4 goes into 12. Okay. So what we have to realize is 3 goes into 12 4 times. So if we multiply 3 times 4, we get 12. And with fractions, if you multiply the denominator by that number, we also have to multiply the numerator. So what we do is we're going to multiply both the top and the bottom by 4. So this is going to be 8/12. And on this side, 4 times what equals 12? Well, it's going to be 3. And once again, if we multiply the denominator by 3, we have to multiply the numerator by 3. And 3 times 1 is going to be 3. And then we just do straight across. It's going to be 11/12. The thing is, we have to find, when we have unlike denominators, we're going to have to find a number that both the top and the bottom go into. Okay, so let's look at this one, another one here. We have 1/2 plus 1/8. Okay, well, I'm going to say I know 2 goes into 8 and 8 goes into 8. Okay, so my new denominator is going to be 8. Because both 2 and 8 go into 8. Okay, we're finding a number that both the denominators go into. And in this case, how do I get 2? 2 times what equals 8? Well, it's going to be 4. And if I multiply the bottom times 4, I have to multiply the numerator. Whatever I multiply the denominator by, I have to do the same to the numerator. And that's going to be 4. In this case, well, 8 times 1 is 1. And 1 times 1 is going to be 1. So this one's going to be 4 plus 1 is 5/8. Okay, so let's do one more here. Okay, it's just, you guys, one thing you can do too is, but you're not going to get the smallest number, but you can always multiply. Let me back this one up. If we have, I'll show you a little trick, but it's going to require sometimes a little more work. So if I have 1/2 plus 1/8. One thing you can always do to find the common denominator is you can multiply these 2 times each other. Okay, so in this case, it's going to get 16, but 16 isn't the smallest common denominator, but it's still going to work, and I'll show you. So if we decide to do 16, 2 times 8 is 16, and then I would do 8 times 1. That's going to be 8. In this case, it's 8 times 2 is going to give us 16, and then 1 times 2. So what we'll get is 10/16. Okay, but a lot of times it's going to ask you to reduce. Okay, and you might have to do one more step. Then you'd have to realize that 2 goes into 10 5 times. 2 goes into 16 8. So when you multiply the denominators times each other, a lot of times you'll get a common denominator, but it's just not the smallest one, and you end up doing one more step when you reduce, sometimes 2. So, but if you're always in a bind, that will always work. Just keep in mind that sometimes you're going to have to spend a little time reducing. Let's do another one here. So if I have 5, 6 plus 3/4. Okay, so we see we have different denominators. We have a 6 and a 4, so we can't just add. We got to find a number that both 6 and 4 go into. And it's going to be 12. One thing you can do is when you're doing fractions, it helps to have your multiplication chart, because you can go to the 6 and look at 6, 12 going across. 6 times 1 is 6, 6 times 2 is 12, 6 times 3 is 18, 6 times 4 is 24. And then you do the same thing with the 4. 4 times 1 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 4 times 3 is 12. And then you'll realize when I went across the 6 and the 4s, I got 12. So you're going to realize both 6 and 4 go into 12. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to say, oh, 12 is my new common denominator. And then I'm going to do 6 times what equals 12? Well, that's 2. And if I multiply the bottom, the denominator, by 2, I have to multiply the numerator by 2. 2 times 5 is 10. And in this case, how many times does 4 go into 12? Well, that's 3. And once again, if I multiply the bottom times 3, I have to multiply the top. 3 times 3 is 9. And then what I get is 19 over 12. And looking at that fraction, based on what we did, something should go off. You're going to go, oh, that is an improper fraction because the numerator is bigger than the denominator. Okay, so what you're going to have to do, a lot of times you'll have multiple choice. So if 19/12 isn't one of the answers, you're going to be like, I didn't do it wrong, but that's an improper fraction. So then what am I going to have to do? Well, I'm going to have to convert that. In this case, it'll be a mixed number. So what I would do is I would divide 12 into 19. I know that goes 1 times, and there's going to be 7 left over, and we're just going to take that 7 and put over the 12. So it'd be 1 and 7/12. And 1 and 7/12 is the same as 19 over 12. That's just written as an improper fraction. So keep in mind, if you get an improper fraction, and that's when the numerator is bigger than the denominator, sometimes you might do that one more step of dividing the denominator into the numerator. Okay, so I'm going to stop there for today. And you guys, this is going to be our last live basic. I will post some more fractions, some adding, subtracting, but we are going to take a little bit of break of doing live classes. We have some stuff going on the next couple of weeks, and then with the holidays, so we'll pick up live class again. I think after the first year, it'll be January 4th. You can certainly email us if you have any questions, but we will be posting work, at least through next week. So have a wonderful holidays, everyone, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.